See this guy right here? This is an African wild dog. When people think about African predators, they tend to think of lions. Big manes, loud roars, main character energy and so on, which isn't necessarily wrong. However, the African wild dog is even more successful than a lion. African wild dogs are endurance hunters. Whereas lions rely on strength and ambush, cheetahs rely on extreme and sudden speed, wild dogs, well, they rely on cardio. They're like Duracell batteries. They don't get tired. They can chase prey for several kilometers, maintaining high speeds over long distances. And their success rate when they are hunting is often estimated to be around 60 to 80%, which is incredibly high for a predator. For comparison, lions only succeed 30% of the time, usually even less. The spotted chaos runners are statistically better hunters than the kings of the savannah. And they are pretty much the embodiment of teamwork makes the dream work. African wild dogs live in highly coordinated packs that can range from 6 to over 20 individuals. Like with other canine social structures, they do have a dominant breeding pair. They also cooperate hunting strategies, they babysit their pups, and they share their food. When they hunt, they spread out, communicate constantly, and take turns leading the chase. Also, they feed their pups first, and then they feed the injured members, and then they feed the lower ranking adults. Even adults will regurgitate their food for others who have had to stay behind in order to guard the den. This level of cooperation is not common amongst predators. So although they are ruthless hunters, they are extremely social and well bonded as well. They actually take care of each other, which again you don't usually see from predators that often. Something that I find kinda funny is that instead of deep howls like wolves, African wild dogs use high-pitched chirps and squeaks to communicate. You could easily confuse it for a bird. Before a hunt, the pack will perform a basically researcher's call, a rally of some kind. Everyone gets excited, they start chasing and running around, sneezing, chirping, and wagging tails. It's the excitement. Also, fun fact, sneezing for the African wild dog may actually function as a kind of voting system, weirdly enough. Yeah, a voting system. They got democracy, but fluffier. Now here's the harsh part. Despite being incredible hunters with incredible success rates, African wild dogs are not dominant predators. Lions and spotted hyenas will often steal their kill. Lions will even kill these wild dogs if they can catch them. Wild dogs rely on speed and cooperation, not strength. So when bigger predators show up, oftentimes they don't have much of an option, so they just retreat. And that means they live in a constant balancing act. Hunt efficiently, eat quickly, and avoid getting your food claimed by someone else. So survival mode for them is always on. African wild dogs are unfortunately classified as endangered. There are only about 6,000 or maybe even fewer of them left out in the wild. The major threats to them are habitat fragmentation, human and wildlife conflict, disease from domestic dogs, and road accidents. Because they roam huge territories, sometimes hundreds of square kilometers, they need connected landscapes. Fences and expanding human settlements makes it that much more difficult. However, on the bright side, conservation programs in places like Botswana and Zimbabwe have had some success protecting key populations. They are resilient, but they need their space. And African wild dogs matter a lot. They primarily hunt medium-sized herbivores, like antelope, by targeting weak or sick individuals. So they help keep the populations healthy and they prevent overpopulation. This is not cruelty, this is just ecological balancing. Nature is not like Disney. It can be very harsh and unforgiving, just as much as it can be beautiful and generous. They are also a rather misunderstood predator. For a very long time, people called them just wild dogs in a negative way, like they were stray pests that were infesting the area. But that perception is changing, and rightfully so. They are highly intelligent, deeply social, incredibly efficient hunters, and very essential to the ecosystems that they are a part of. They're not some savage, chaotic creature. They are an organized form of necessary chaos. And honestly, that makes them even more cooler in my opinion. So yeah, if lions are the dramatic royalty of Africa, African wild dogs are the tactical species force unit. They're not flashy, they don't display their powers in a solitary, cool way, they just coordinate, endure, and show loyalty to each other. And yeah, that's going to be about it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you again later some other time. Goodbye!